All right, let's talk about it. It's the number one question you see in pretty much every single DIY solar forum out there. Can I really run my air conditioner all day long just on solar power? It's a great question, and we're going to dive deep because the answer is a whole lot more interesting than you might think.
And the advice you always see is so simple. Somebody will just chime in, oh yeah, easy, just get more solar panels, or dude, just buy a bigger battery, you'll be fine.
And when you first read that, you kind of nod your head and go, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's just basic math, right? More power in, more power stored. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, here's the hook. That simple, logical-sounding advice, it's dangerously incomplete. And following it blindly is pretty much the biggest reason why so many of these off-grid AC projects fail. And I mean fail catastrophically.
You see, the problem is we're starting off by asking the completely wrong question. It's not really about the air conditioner. It's about the hidden dangers it unleashes on your system. We're talking massive electrical surges, intense heat, and a constant, day-long battle for energy balance.
So we have to completely reframe this. This is the key. The real challenge isn't just about powering the AC. It's about whether your inverter, your batteries, and even your wires can survive the absolute beating that an AC unit dishes out hour after hour, all day long.
Think about it like this. An AC compressor is not a polite, gentle appliance. No way. It's like a heavyweight boxer, and every single time it kicks on, bam! It delivers a massive punch, a huge shock load right to the chin of your entire electrical system. And it just keeps doing that, over and over again.
And this is where we hit our first big myth. People look at the sticker on their AC, they see, say, 1,000 watts, and they think, okay, 1,000 watts, I got this. But the reality, that startup surge can be 3, 4, even 5 times that amount for a split second. Your inverter has to absorb that massive spike, or it's just going to tap out and shut down.
And it's the exact same myth with batteries. You see this big, shiny 10 kilowatt-hour label, and you think you have this giant fuel tank of energy. But the reality is, you have to understand the usable capacity. After you account for not draining it to zero, for system losses, and for the incredible stress of that AC, your real-world capacity is way, way smaller.
So that simple get more panels advice just breezes past all the stuff that actually matters. It ignores your inverter's strict overload limits. It ignores the stress on your battery, the C rate, which can cause it to overheat. It ignores voltage sag, where your whole system gets weak under the load. And it totally ignores the very real, very dangerous risk of thermal runaway in a system that's pushed too hard.
All this stuff adds up to a much bigger picture. We have to stop thinking about power in a single moment and start thinking about the entire 24-hour energy battle your system has to fight every single day.
And at the core of this whole thing is a basic engineering principle: energy balance. It sounds complicated, but it's simple. Over a full day, the energy you make from the sun has to be equal to or greater than all the energy you use, plus all the energy that just gets lost along the way. If you end the day with less than you started, you're on a losing path.
Now here's where it gets really tough. During the middle of the day, when the sun is blazing and your AC is working its hardest, your poor solar panels are trying to do 2 massive jobs at once. They have to run that power-hungry AC directly, and at the same time, they have to refill the battery so you have power for the night.
Okay, so what happens when a big cloud rolls overhead? Your solar production just falls off a cliff, but the AC doesn't care. It keeps running. So the battery has to instantly jump in and fill that gap. Every time this happens, you're digging into your reserves, creating an energy debt that your panels might not be able to pay back before sunset. This is the start of a death spiral for your system.
And remember, that battery you're draining? It's not what the label says it is. A 10 kilowatt-hour battery, once you factor in not draining it too deep, losses from the inverter, and the voltage drop from that heavy AC load, you might only be getting 7 or 8 kilowatt-hours of real, usable energy. This constant stress, this daily energy deficit, it leads us right to the anatomy of a system breakdown. So let's take a look at exactly where these systems fall apart and why.
Failure is usually a cascade of events. First, maybe the undersized inverter just trips off every time the AC tries to start. Or the battery is too weak and its voltage just collapses under the strain, shutting everything down. If you get past that, then not having enough solar panels means the battery never, ever fully recovers. And the scariest part? People often use wiring that's too thin or skip fuses, and that's how a system failure can turn into a potential fire.
So when you really put it all together, a system built on that simple bigger is better advice isn't a power system at all. It's really just a temporary battery drain experiment that is, frankly, just waiting to fail.
Okay, so enough with the doom and gloom.
how do we actually do this the right way? Let's pivot away from all the problems and talk about the principles for designing a system that isn't just built to run, but is built to survive. Which brings us all the way back to our original question. But now we have all the context we need to really understand the answer. So one more time, can solar run an air conditioner all day long?
The answer is a resounding yes, but it's a yes if. Yes, if your system is intelligently designed to handle the brutal reality of a compressor surge. Yes, if you've calculated for a true 24-hour energy balance. And yes, if you have built in safety margins for heat and have all the proper fuses and breakers in place. These things aren't suggestions, they are non-negotiable requirements.
And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. It all comes down to one fundamental question you have to ask about any system you build or buy. Is this thing engineered for the harsh reality of the job, or was it just designed to look good on a label? The answer to that one question is the difference between cool, comfortable air and a catastrophic failure.